Hello everyone, my name is Nickie and I am the owner and founder of Circa 2009, and one of my Facebook brothers asked me to do a soap making video, so here it goes. Okay, so basically what you'll need is some form of ash. Traditionally Africans make black soap. They use cocoa pods, plantain, the skin of the plantain, which I actually have some of those in here. And they also use shea butter. And then they kind of combine those ingredients and they make their own ash. But in the United States, you can buy cocoa pods. They're a little on the costly side. They cost about $20. You can buy them online, but you only get one. And so if you want to make a batch of soap, you know, that's really not enough. So basically in the United States, you need a form of ash, which is lye. Now what I use is a food grade lye, and I get it from Essential Depot. You don't need a whole lot. I have a recipe. The recipe calls for, hold on a second, I thought I had it turned to the page, I'm sorry. Well, there are a lot of recipes online, but you only need about, depending on the size of the batch of soap that you're going to make, you probably need about, say 4 to 6 ounces of lye, and then you'll need water. And then you'll also need an oil. So the easiest way to make soap is with just simple ingredients: coconut oil, the lye, and the water. You can use olive oil. That's going to make a Castile soap. But I like to use coconut oil. I have used olive oil. I have used other oils. But if we want to make a vegan soap, you know, coconut oil is a good one because it does solidify a lot faster than some of the other ones. So anyhow, you'll also need a container that is dedicated to your lye solution. So you want to put that lye solution, you want to add your water first, and then you want to add the lye to the mixture. I recommend that you go outside. If you don't have a fire escape, a patio, or a balcony, maybe hold it out the window with, you know, kind of like this, and stir with the other hand. But anyhow, you have to keep stirring the ingredients until the lye solution becomes clear. Once the lye solution becomes clear, then you would add it to your oil, and you need about 40 ounces of oil. So it's best, a lot of times I'll get the 100 ounces of coconut oil or olive oil when I'm ready to make a batch of soap. So you'll want to use about 30 to 40 ounces of oil, depending on the recipe that you're following. Once you combine the lye and the oil, it is no longer lye. It then becomes soap. It's called saponification. So don't worry, that you're putting lye in the soap, because it's no longer going to be the same chemical element once you combine it with the coconut oil. However, you do have to be careful. You want to wear gloves. You want to wear long sleeves. And you want to wear goggles in case you get splashing. Now, if you're a little gangster like me, I normally don't wear gloves or goggles. You just have to be careful. You want to make sure that there are no kids or animals around. And again, you want to be outside or in a well-ventilated area, because the fumes are very strong. So you can also, so there's different ways you can make it. You can just do the lye, the coconut oil, and the water, and then you can put it in a mold. And these are some examples of containers that you can use as a mold, or you can purchase a mold. So this you can use, it would make a soap that looks like this, depending on how much you put in it. You can also, like I said, you can purchase a mold. This is a silicone mold. You would then need to cut your soap with a soap cutter or a knife. You know, you don't have to be fancy with it. You're just wanting to clean yourself. So you can use a mold like this. See, it has those ridges. You can also use something like this, which I purchased from a wine store for about $5. It's just a wooden box. You can put your soap in, and then again, once it's solidified, you would need to cut it. This is another example of a container that I've used to make soap. It got also from the wine store. It's a wine box. And you would also need to do some cutting. Once you're done, it's going to look something like this. So once you have your lye, oil, and water mixture together, so you would, once your lye and water mixture is clear, you would then add it to the oil. You would slowly add it. Again, you want tools that are dedicated to only making lye, nothing metal. You want to use preferably silicone or plastic. If you use wood, it may get ruined. I normally use this if, you know, once I'm ready to pour the soap into the mold, but you don't want to use this to stir because the lye will eat through the wood. But once you have your mixture combined, you want to have what is called trace. You want to use one of these stick blenders, which you can get from Walmart or any of those stores. You know, any discount stores or department stores should sell a stick blender. And you want it to be, so trace, what's considered trace? Trace is considered like a pudding consistency, where you can actually take the stick blender out of the mixture and you can almost like trace lines along the top of it. I'm not really good. I'm not gonna, the next time I make a batch of soap, I may, you know, actually show you all the steps. But I'm just explaining everything now, what you'll need. And I hope I'm not leaving anything out. I kind of feel like I am. But anyhow, once you do your mixture, you'll want to put it, some people put it in a crock pot and they cook it. But you don't have to do that, because there's cold pressed soap, and then there's the crock pot, you know, soap method. So what I'm teaching you is just the very basic soap making method. Okay, so once you combine your ingredients and it comes up to trace, then you can add things to it. Normally I will add a nice essential oil, like I make this particular soap here. It's you can do tea tree oil, but I used eucalyptus and charcoal to make this soap. So you would it's activated charcoal, and it's for if you can see that, it's for soap making. So you can ingest activated charcoal, but when you're making soap supplies, a lot of times they're not for you to eat. Like the coconut oil that I use, which I've also gotten from Essential Depot because they have really good discounts sometimes, it's not for you to consume. It is just for the soap making, period. I ran out of my soap making coconut oil, so I'm just showing you this so you'll know what things you can use. But anyhow, like I said, you can add essential oils. You can add something like bentonite clay, and you can also add color with mica or any type of dried flowers. Like I will sometimes use this is lemongrass. It's organic lemongrass from Egypt, and I will sometimes put that in my soap. It gives it a little bit of flavor. This is one. Sorry. Okay, that's one of the soaps that I use lemongrass. So I actually have pieces of lemongrass inside the soap. If you hear something vibrating, yeah. So, like I said, you can add color. You know, make the soap any color you want. oatmeal, if you can see that. That is steel cut oats, because oatmeal is something that is good for the skin. Along with the coconut oil, it's going to be very moisturizing and healing to your skin. Same thing with for the most part, any essential oils that you use, they have healing properties in them. So they're going to be good to add to your soap. Because you're not only going to get moisturizing from the oil that you use, but any essential oil that you add to it, you'll get a benefit from as well. Here's another. It has lavender, jasmine, and lang lang in it. And then I showed you the honey almond oatmeal soap, the eucalyptus, and the grapefruit lemongrass. You can also add essential oils to black soap. You would liquefy them, which, hold on, I have an example of that here. I normally put this in a container and liquefy it, but you don't want it like too loose. You want it, you know, a nice kind of thick consistency. And then you can just put it back in a mold and let it harden overnight. It's going to be a soft soap. It's not going to be as solid as it was before you liquefied it, or quote unquote melted it down. Because you don't want it to be too loose. So you're just basically adding a little water and you're letting it liquefy, and then you can add an essential oil to it, you know, of your choice. There's also something called rebatching. Like this soap, you know, it kind of looks ugly, so you can take a what do you call it, a grater, like something like this, or if you have a bigger one. I have a bigger one. I didn't pull that out, I forgot about that. But you can use something like that, and you would just actually take the soap and grate, you know, grate it into little, you know, it looks like cheese. Of course, this batch of soap, it doesn't have any color. It's basically Castile soap, because I made that one with olive oil. But the shape, and I've used it in here. The shape, you know, a lot of people are so used to aesthetics and things being beautiful and perfect. When you make your soap, it's not going to be so beautiful and so perfect. It's probably going to be a little lumpy. But it's soap, like you're using it to bathe with. So, you know, it shouldn't really matter. You know, that's not such a big deal. The idea is to be clean, and not to have something that's necessarily aesthetically pleasing to the eye. But, you know, because I sell the soap, I know that is important to some people, and I'm not trying to take that away from anybody. So please don't take it the wrong way. But it may not necessarily be, you know, the best looking soap. It may be a little lumpy, but it still works. It's still going to be soap. Once you are done making your soap, you can use it right away. However, it is recommended that you let it cure for at least 6 weeks. That is a very long time. And if you have no soap, you might want to, you know, use it sooner than that. But it is recommended that you allow it to cure. I normally just put it away in a cabinet, or, you know, underneath the sink until I'm ready to use it. But I have used it, you know, immediately. A lot of times I'll use it even just to test it, to make sure that it lathers really well before I package it and or use it. I'm still looking through my book. I have a lot of recipes because I make a lot of things other than soap. So I really would like to provide you guys with a recipe. And I know that this video is getting kind of long, and I keep saying and I am sorry about that. I hope that is not too annoying for some people. Sorry, it doesn't look like I can find a specific recipe. I thought I had it written down in my notebook. Oh, another thing, which I do have written down. You can use things like a scale, which I have one, to measure your, I got this from Walmart, but to measure your, how many ounces of soap, if that's important to you. Like I said, you can do the method in a crock pot. You want to use a large, you don't want to use any metal, and you want to use a durable plastic. Like this plastic pitcher is pretty durable. But usually, oh, I know another thing, I'm sorry. You want to heat your oil up a little bit. So normally I will put my oil in a pot. You want tools that are dedicated to making your lye, like I said earlier. So if you're going to make soap, I would recommend that you buy a pot or a crock pot. Because you want to heat, well, you don't have to. You can heat the oil up and then transfer it into another container. Like this is one of the containers I use, but this is not very big. So usually once I do it, like the oil goes all the way up to this line here. And then once I put my stick blender in, you kind of get a little bit of splashing. Like I'm very careful with it. So I don't get a lot of splashing, but you can get a little splashing. And again, you want to be careful because at that point it's still lye. And like I said, you want to get it up to trace, but you do want to heat your oil up because the lye, once you combine the lye and the water, it's going to be very, very hot to the touch. You don't have to touch it, but you'll feel the heat radiating from the container that you mixed the solution in. So you want your oil and your water to be around the same temperature. You can purchase a thermometer to check. So you should start with your lye and water mixture first, because that's going to stay hot. Then in the meantime, you could have your oil on the stove getting hot, and then you'll want to just stick in a thermometer to test the temperature of the lye, and then test the temperature of your oil. You want to get them in the same temperature range. So if you're, just say for example, if your lye is 100 degrees, you want your oil to be 95, 100, 105, within the same range. That way they do blend well together. If you use a cold oil, you may not get the lather after. You may, get a kind of like a dull soap. I am so sorry about this recipe, because I thought I had it in my book. I have a lot of recipes in here, guys. But typically, like I said, there is a lady who did a video on YouTube, and it is called Basic Soap Making. And she uses, I also have another mold. I don't know what I did with it. Oh, here it is. Hold on. This is another kind of mold. It's also a silicone mold. This stuff, it's just like residue. I didn't realize it was that way. I'll just have to wash it. But anyhow, this is another mold. And so the mold that she uses is similar to this. So that will probably be an indication that it's the right video. If I think about it, I will send you the link to it. It's only about 15 minutes or so. But anyhow, I hope that this was helpful. And she does have the exact measurements, so you can, start from there. You can get very creative with the soap. You can kind of mix in colors. But just as a basic soap recipe, to cleanse your body, your hair, you can use it, on your hair. as well as your skin. So just as a basic recipe, these are some of the things that you'll need to use. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. You can respond to the YouTube video or reach out to me on Facebook. Also on Instagram and Twitter, Snickieb, SNICKIEB, or you may say Circa 2009, CIRCA_2009 on Instagram. On Twitter, it's the Snickieb, and on YouTube, I think it might be Nickie Brown, but I'm not sure offhand. But anyway, I hope this video was helpful. Like I said, if you have more questions, feel free to reach out to me. I hope that this was helpful. And that's about it. Peace.